All right, we're talking to Alamogordo Wrestling today. They're coming off a win over Goddard at a duel at the Tiger Pit yesterday. And joining us, we have Ryan Stovall, Trevor Yelton, Cameron Thomas, and Max Merrell. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Happy to have you here. Well, you're over here on the left, Ryan, so we're going to go ahead and start off with you.
Great.
I like the Adidas jacket, by the way. He's got a nice green Adidas jacket on.
Just about.
Just about, right? Well, let's first off talk about Wednesday night against Goddard. How do you feel like your match went last night?
Well, I kind of had a forfeit for like the actual duel match, but then I had a couple exhibition matches. I won my first one, but then I kind of lost the second one, so 1-1.
Yeah. How do you? Are you happy with the way that you're wrestling so far this season?
Yeah, for a first-year wrestler, I feel like I'm doing pretty decent, pretty good. There's still a lot to learn. That's about it. Still feel good though.
What do you think's been the toughest thing to learn, or the toughest thing to acclimate to being a first-year wrestler compared to? Because I'm sure you've been an athlete, so.
Yeah, I'd say probably just like learning the technique, just trying to get it all down and implement it into an actual match instead of just like practicing it. So. But it's fun, and like even the rules and stuff, like I kind of adapted to that quick. But yeah, just the technique, I'm just trying to get it down.
All right, very good. Trevor, how about you? You wrestled last night as well.
I wrestled
your
once.
What was your thoughts on your match last night?
I thought I did pretty good. The kid I wrestled last year at 152, and I'm wrestling 170 this year. So I ended up beating him 10-2, I think. Yeah. I wrestled pretty good though. Felt good about it. I only wrestled once though.
Is it a little bit easier to be at 170 for you, or in terms of a walking around weight? Is that?
I walk around at like 167, 168. So I don't have to cut weight really, but it's nice not having to cut weight.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it? Are you finding it so far wrestling at that weight is a little bit easier for you this year?
Yeah, it's pretty fun. They're tough though. They're big. They're big boys because they're typically cutting from like 180. Yeah. So they're big boys, but I like it.
It gives you a little bit of an extra challenge. How many years have you been wrestling now?
In my second year.
And, how would you compare? Obviously, last year, different weight class, but just in terms of your knowledge of what you're doing out there, is it completely different from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better in my technique and being able to just flow, chain wrestle. I think I've gotten a lot better at that.
All right. Well, we're happy to hear that you're continuing to improve. And then we got Cameron Thomas over here. Cameron, how about your performance against Goddard?
I got things to work on. I did win at the 160, but I won 10-6. I beat him before at a JV tournament before. It was a 6-3. But I got things to work on. My cardio, that's a big thing. A little fatigued, but it's all good.
Yeah. How many years wrestling for you?
This is my 5th year.
5th year. Okay. Yeah. Where do you feel like you're at? Are you feeling as confident as you've been as a wrestler in your career, or? I know you say you've got things to work on, but are you technique-wise, or is it things that you're happy with this year?
Yeah, I'm really happy with my neutral. I've gotten a lot better at it, taking shots, getting people to the mat. I do on my top game. It's kind of weak, but I want to get better at that at practice,
Yeah. Are you at a weight class where you have to cut, or are you kind of below that, or where do you usually sit?
So usually I walk around about 168, 170.
Okay.
So, and I wrestled 160. I wrestled 160 this year and last year. But last year I walked around 155. So it kind of sucks. But,
it's a challenge, I'm sure. Right? It's one of, I guess, for those of us on the outside that don't necessarily have to go through that part of it. What's the most challenging part of having to cut that weight for you guys?
It's definitely self-control. You walk around, you see all this food, social media, everything. You always see everything. You just have to prioritize, making that weight cut for your team.
Yeah, that's hard to do being a teenager. Everybody's going out and maybe getting something to eat after what you guys are doing, and you have to hold off on that, right?
Yeah.
At least during wrestling season, right?
Yeah. At least during wrestling season.
Yeah. Max, I know you had a hard-fought match last night. That was pretty intense.
Yeah, it got a little physical.
Yeah.
There was lots of blood time. Yeah.
David took care of you and got you all, and you went right back out there. That's a special mentality, and I know we see it in some other sports too, but I doubt any one of these guys, if they were in the same situation as you, they'd be like, patch me up, I'm going back out there, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the mentality that wrestling teaches you. Whatever happens. We're just going to keep wrestling.
Yeah, and we certainly saw that. And also, he kind of had you a little bit of a chokehold there at the beginning of it, right? Or at least had it to where they had to stop things, right?
Yeah, so he got an illegal hold on me and actually choked me out, and I went unconscious for a couple seconds. So he stopped the match, but after a little while, I was breathing again normally, so I was fine, and went out and won the match 8-0.
You're just acting like it's no big deal. I think for most of us, you'd get choked out and be like, that'd be kind of a big deal. It wasn't that much of a problem for you, it sounded like.
It was a first for me, I will say that.
Okay.
But, I mean, you just keep wrestling, go do the sport you love.
Yeah. How do you feel like where you're at with your wrestling going into this season, or you feel like you're as strong as you've ever been?
Yeah, I think I'm wrestling at the best I am right now, but there's for sure definitely still work to do. The goal is to place a state, maybe be a state champion, so there's definitely some work to do. But as long as I'm wrestling at my peak by the end of the season, we'll be good.
And you've also been moving up in weight class as well, because you used to wrestle a little bit lighter in previous years, right?
Yeah, I wrestled 172 years ago, and then last year 82, and then this year I'm wrestling 95. And
that's just a more comfortable weight for you, or?
I've actually put on a lot of muscle for football, of course. This summer our goal is to bulk, get as big as possible, and then go into wrestling, trying to be as light as possible. So going back and forth, it's kind of difficult sometimes, so I've just been putting on muscle, slowly getting stronger and bigger. So it's easier to wrestle at a higher weight class now.
Okay. So is 195 what you're going to stick at all season long?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, you guys have Roswell coming up this week. Max, any goals for this week? I mean, you want to try to place over there at that tournament?
Of course, that's always the goal. This is our first big individual tournament of the year, so of course the goal is to go get some medals.
Absolutely. Cameron, how about you? Is that a big goal for you as well?
Yeah, place is a big thing, take it home.
Okay. Trevor, any big, is that what your mindset is going into this weekend?
Trying to get a placing, podium, but I'm just going to go out there and have fun.
Okay. Ryan, how about you? I mean, what's your goals heading into the weekend?
Probably just to win a match.
Yeah.
That'd be good for me, especially going up to Roswell, the bigger boys. And even the Las Cruces, those are some tough kids to face.
Yeah, you guys faced really tough schools when you went over to Las Cruces last week, and at least that's what coach was telling me. So that was obviously a big challenge. Something I always like to ask when I get the wrestlers in here. I mean, Alamogordo wrestling is kind of a new thing here. I mean, it's only a few years going now. More people are learning about it. I mean, Ryan, I'd ask you. I mean, how did you get into the wrestling program?
Well, truthfully, I knew about it when it started. I kind of was hesitant about joining it because I was like, football, I'm still in the first period class, whatever. I just stick with football. But how long ago was it?
A couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. A couple weeks into the season, I had a friend, AV. He brought me in to practice, and then I felt it was fun. I just stuck with it.
Yeah. And I think it's more of, word of mouth. You obviously knew about it, word of mouth. You knew that it was going on. Is that something with a lot of the football guys and a lot of the other athletes at the school that there's a little bit of interest that we've seen? Or?
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of freshman friends that I've tried to get to come out to wrestling, and I don't know, they just don't seem too interested. But it's super fun, and I tell them that.
Absolutely. Trevor, I mean, obviously you're with the football program too. I think everybody here has played football this year, right?
Yes,
yeah. So, obviously it's a transition. Max was talking about it. You bulk up for football. Wrestling's obviously a different kind of athleticism, and that's why it doesn't necessarily translate. But was that something just kind of a natural progression for you to go from football to wrestling, and what got you into it?
Yeah, this year was my first year of football actually, ever.
Yeah.
So it was fun, but the athleticism just kind of flowed right into wrestling. There wasn't much of a change, especially because I weigh about the same as I did when I played football, so there wasn't much of a transition.
And I guess the other part about it is, I mean, do you all feel any kind of responsibility to try to help build, get this program up to a strong level before you guys end up graduating as seniors? I mean, Travel, do you guys feel that a little bit as competitors?
Yeah, we try to get as much people as we can. I mean, it's a super tough sport, so when people know about wrestling, they don't really want to do it since you got to put in so much work. But we're trying to spread the word to the other football players and people who are tough.
Yeah. Well, and Cameron, I'd also think it's about representing the program well, and not necessarily wins or losses or anything, but showing how hard you guys work, the camaraderie that goes along with the program, and just representing the community well. Do you guys, is that an important part of it for you?
Yeah, definitely. As Trevor, Max, seniors, I'm a junior, and we got a handful more back in the room. Most of the new guys are first year freshmen, lower classmen. So it's our job to set an example for them, because after they leave, it's going to be these lower classmen to set the example and grow the program. So I think it's important that we give a good example now while we're here.
Yeah, and Max, I mean, Max and Cameron, you guys both been with the program the whole time it's been around here at HS?
No, I moved here over the summer.
Okay, so you're brand new to it. But Max, you've been with it since they restarted it, right?
So I moved here the second year that there was a program. Yeah, that's what I was trying to... Still pretty new, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, things were still starting up at that point. So, is that something that, you're kind of proud of when you see as many of these guys coming out? Because it certainly seems like there's more guys, and I should say, and gals coming out and wrestling with the program, too.
Right, for sure, especially when you look at where we started and the numbers we had, I guess you can say, and you look at where we're at now and the participation and even the people showing up to our meets. There's for sure way more people that know about wrestling, getting excited for it, and that's really exciting to see this change that we've brought about this program.
Yeah, I can say it for myself. I really didn't know that much about amateur wrestling. This has made me learn a lot more about it. I certainly don't know as much as I should know about it at this point, but I appreciate you guys going out there competing because it's causing me to learn about what's going on with that. So, something else I mention it is the girls wrestling is now an official state event here in the state. You guys have 3 or 4 ladies that are wrestling with y'all this year.
3
this year. With you this year. Yep. And I think that's something that maybe we talk about getting a lot of the guys with the football program and other places, but the whole point is it's an inclusive program and everybody come out there, and you guys are encouraging everybody to come out, right, Max?
Yes, sir. Wrestling is a fast-growing sport, I guess you could say, across America, and girls wrestling especially. Like, the New Mexico started last year, I think, just the girls strictly state tournament. Before if they wanted to wrestle, you had to wrestle with guys, and I think that turned a lot of people away. But with them including and giving them their own tournament, I'm for sure it's bringing more people into the program.
Yeah, and we saw, of course, we had a few exhibitions last night with the ladies performing or competing last night, so that was good to see as well. We do want to mention as well some of the other guys that aren't here today that are with the team. We'll mention some of the couple of heavier guys as well. Gavin Trujillo, Hunter Riggs. I don't know, Cameron, you can talk about those guys. I mean, obviously they're both working hard, competing well. Pretty talented guys, both of them.
Yeah, Hunter came from Tennessee. He moved over here like midway through the season, so it's interesting to have him come out. And then Gavin, he's a football player. I believe he wrestled 2 years ago. I don't think he wrestled last year though. He wrestled the year before that. And they're great guys. They come out and they work hard. Respect that.
All right, that's good to see. Let's see, anybody else we haven't, we've got Connor Anthony, Walker Dorman, let's see, who else do we have? Felix Arias, Ricky Pineda, Brody Marconi. I mean, trying to roll through as much of these guys. So Matthew Young's another one that won a match by forfeit last night. Overall, Trevor, what are we thinking of this team this year? It seems like you've got pretty strong guys at most of the weight classes that are going to be competitive this year.
Yeah, I think we do actually, and they're a bunch of first-year wrestlers, but they're showing up in their matches. They're not putting up a good fight for those guys because a lot of these guys are wrestling for all their lives. So when you come in first year, it's kind of hard, but they're mentally strong, physically strong, and they're pushing through.
Yeah, Ryan, what's it like for the first years, the competitiveness that's going on among the first years, and also trying to learn the sport as well?
Yeah, it's super competitive. Just going into any match, if your opponent has wrestled for a while or not, if your opponent's a first-year wrestler too, it's just a dogfight regardless. And you win some, you lose some, but going there as a first-year wrestler and just like getting whooped, I could say,
yeah.
It definitely teaches you something, and it gets you better.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that it's all a learning process at the end of the day for you guys, so we'll see how that goes. Well, Ryan, I mean, on the overall scope of the season, I mean, what are your goals for the year? I mean, what are you shooting for? As coaches said, hey, this is what you need to be at maybe by the end of the year?
Yeah, well, always shoot for the stars. I would like to go to state. Don't know how possible that is, but I've been working hard. I'm definitely trying to go for a better win than loss record on the season, I could say. But just by the end of the season, I just want to be a better wrestler as a whole. Just get most of my stuff down.
Yeah, Trevor, how about you? By the end of the season, you have an idea of where you want to be at?
Yeah, like Ryan, I just want to be a better wrestler than when I started wrestling, and then I want to go to state and show up at state.
Yeah, that's of course a big goal by the end of the season. Cameron, I'm sure similar to the two guys.
Pretty similar. I'm hoping to take divisionals. Hopefully place first there, and get on a podium for state. And that's the goal. I'm a junior, so I do have a year at it. But I hope I can make a lot in the junior year.
Yeah, Max. I mean, you already said earlier that obviously state champion is a big goal for you. What do you think it's going to take in order for you to get to that level? Because obviously there's some great wrestlers across the state.
Right, of course, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take showing up at these different matches, getting some experience with guys all across the state. Because we go to state, we go up north, see guys we haven't seen all year. So we got to take advantage of the opportunities we're given now in the matches that we're going to, especially going against better opponents. Some people shy away from that, but I always I love it. I want to wrestle the best. I want to wrestle the best guy, because that's how you get better. And I know that's if you wrestle good guys start the season, by the time you get to state, you'll be wrestling at your prime, and you'll be able to compete well.
All right, well. I know everybody in the community has been excited about Alamogordo Wrestling. Y'all have 2 more home events before the end of the season, so we encourage everybody to get out there. Let me pull up my calendar and make sure I have those 2 dates exactly. I know one of them is a district. You guys will have Socorro and Ruidoso coming in on the 8th of January, and then Roswell will come in on the 30th of January, so those will be the 2 home events. You got a lot of other things going on in between there, but we want to encourage everybody to get out and see these guys and gals whenever you get the opportunity. They don't get a ton of home events, and last night, you guys mentioned the crowd was really good last night. I thought there was a lot of home support for y'all, so that was cool to see. Well, gentlemen, we wish you the best of luck, and we'll look forward to seeing what you can do, and good luck in Roswell coming up this weekend, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, guys.